Alright, so version 5.5 is starting to take shape, and there's already a lot to talk about. We've got new banners, artifact sets, a new map, events, and even some updates to Skirk. Some of this information is solid, while some things are still up in the air, so I'll clarify when something isn't fully confirmed yet. But based on the current info, we can get a pretty good idea of what's coming. If you're looking to save up to 23% on the current banners, check out lootbar.gg. Here, I'm buying the 6,480 Genesis Crystals pack for $79, while it costs $100 in-game, saving me $21 instantly. The top-up process is super simple. I just entered my UID and selected my server. In less than 5 minutes, the gems appeared in my account. As you can see, I received double the amount for my first purchase, just like with in-game top-ups. Beyond Genshin, you can also top up in Honkai Star Rail, and Lootbar has over 50,000 satisfied users. I regularly use Lootbar for my giveaways, so I can personally recommend it. New users can get an extra 8% discount from the link in the description. The character banners for 5.5 are now almost fully confirmed, thanks to new info from Hakushin. While we don't have a phase confirmations, 5.5 beta strongly indicate the lineup will be Veresa and Zhanyun plus Ian-san in the first phase, while Zilonen and Venti in the second. Veresa is one of the most anticipated characters right now. She builds up Night Soul points in combat, then enters her Fiery Passion state, allowing her to unleash empowered attacks with massive AoE electro damage. Her elemental skill resets stamina, enables free charged attacks, and helps with terrain traversal, while her elemental burst resets her Night Soul gauge and deal a massive dropkick attack. Alongside her, Iansen is debuting as a new 4-star Electro character. She's support and ATK buffer with a high mobility playstyle centered around Night Soul mechanics. In her Night Soul's Blessing state, she gains increased movement speed, boosted jumping power, and terrain traversal abilities. Her Elemental Burst provides a team-wide ATK buff and regenerates Night Soul points based on movement, though it's not quite as consistent as Bennett's buff. Zhanyun's rerun makes perfect sense, given her synergy with Veresa's plunge-heavy playstyle. Zilonen's rerun, while a bit unexpected, makes sense in the bigger picture. She's one of the best Natlan characters for team synergies, and her versatility makes her a solid pick for both new and veteran players. That's the full breakdown of the banners. Another big addition in 5.5 is a new map, the Ancient Sacred Mountain. Clearing it will net you around 400 Primo Gems, which is always nice. Artifacts are always a big deal because they can change how a character performs. In 5.5, we're getting 2 new sets, and they're pretty interesting. The first one seems tailor-made for Skirk. The 2-piece bonus gives a 15% cryo damage bonus, which is solid, but the real kicker is the 4-piece effect. It boosts normal attack damage and elemental burst damage by 60% when the character has 0 energy. This effect swaps depending on which type of attack is used first, and it even works off-field. Now, this is a pretty specific condition, but if Skirk is designed to play around hitting 0 energy frequently, this set could be a game changer for her. And just a minute ago, we got new info, Skirk's damage scales based on HP. This makes the set even more interesting, as it could synergize with her kit in ways we haven't fully seen yet. The second set seems to be for Veresa, but interestingly, it might also work for Xiao. The 2-piece bonus increases plunging attack damage by 25%, and the 4-piece stacks up to 5 times, further boosting plunging attack damage for 6 seconds after hitting an enemy with plunging attacks, charged attacks, or elemental skills. Veresa is expected to use plunges a lot, but if this works well with Xiao's kit, it could end up being his new best-in slot. That said, until we see how the numbers shake out, we can't say for sure whether it's better than his current options. We just got some new information about Skirk, and it looks like Hoyoverse is making some last changes to her model before release. If you haven't heard yet, her proportions have been modified. Skirk's in-game model has been updated, and this isn't just a minor tweak. Genshin Impact typically reuses a few standard body models for most characters. For example, Ayaka, Hu Tao, and Furina all share the same medium female model. Initially, Skirk was expected to follow that pattern, especially since she already appeared in Fontaine's story quest using the standard medium female model. However, Hoyoverse has now changed her proportions, making her taller and thinner than what we saw in the Fontaine quest. This is a smaller change, but worth mentioning. Dahaya and Venti are getting updates to their running animations, or echoes as we call them. The big event in 5.5 revolves around the Sacred Mountain and seems to tie into Natlan's fiery and warrior-driven themes. We don't have all the details yet, but what's important is that Auroran will be a free character reward. If you didn't pull for him before, this is a great chance to add him to your roster. There are also 3 sub-events. One involves a combat challenge where you train your skills through different scenarios. Another is a chaotic underground fight club with no rules. This one sounds pretty fun. And finally, there's a rhythm-based event hosted by Mualani, where you'll be playing some kind of music minigame. For those who enjoy Imaginarium Theater, new poses are coming for Wanderer, Ganyu, Xinyan, and Lisa. These kinds of updates are always nice for adding a little more personality to characters in non-combat settings. A couple of smaller, but still notable updates. After the 5.5 update, when you use Sanctifying Elixir to refine an artifact that has already been upgraded to the maximum level, it will guarantee at least 2 hits into the desired substats. If multiple substats match the refinement criteria, the hits will be distributed equally among them. Fontaine artifacts will finally be available for conversion in the crafting system, making it easier to farm and optimize those sets. If you've been sitting on a pile of bad artifact rolls, this should help. And for those who care about the Serenatea pot, our little Zorian pets will now be placeable inside. It's a small thing, but for teapot enthusiasts, it's always fun to add more customization options. In version 5.5, players can expect to collect a total of 12,875 Primogems, which translates to 80 free pulls. That's already enough to reach soft pity, meaning most players will have a solid shot at landing a 5-star character. And if you've been saving up from previous banners, you might even have enough to secure a guaranteed 5-star through the pity system. If you have the blessing of the Welkin Moon, you'll receive an additional 3,780 Primogems over the course of the patch. This brings your total to 16,655 Primogems, which is enough for 104 pulls, a full hard pity. That means Welkin users have a strong chance of obtaining a 5-star character, even if they start the patch with 0 saved wishes. For free-to-play players, this is a solid amount, ensuring at least 1 soft pity attempt. So that's everything we know about 5.5 so far. There's a solid mix of content here: new banners, artifacts, a new map, and some quality-of-life changes. The biggest question is probably how well the new artifacts will work with existing characters, and whether this means Skirk's release is getting closer. What do you think? Are you pulling for Verisa, Xianyun, Shilonen, or Venti? Let me know in the comments. Save up to 23% on the current banners at lootbar.gg. All you need is your UID and server. The link is in the description.